Question 3. What kind of media institution might distribute My Music magazine and why? Bauer. Why? Bauer is a well-known distribution company. It has a vast experience as it's established in 1875. It already distributes many popular magazines such as Q Magazine, Mojo and Kerrang. Why would Bauer distribute my product? With Bauer, they don't have an indie-themed genre magazine yet. Q covers a wide variety of artists, but they are mainly well-known and don't particularly stick to one genre. Kerrang magazine specialises in rock music, and Mojo is also a magazine specialising in rock music, although it focuses on more classic rock groups than modern. Altogether, this means that by having an indie genre magazine, Bauer will be expanding its audience, and seeing as indie is an ever-growing modern genre, it will only get more popular. Furthermore, there aren't many indie-themed music magazines out there, so Bauer would be choosing a unique magazine and finding a gap in the market. My magazine would fit into Bauer as well, as they don't have a similar type magazine, like I just said. This will benefit my magazine hugely, as Bauer is seen as one of the biggest distributors not only with magazines, but radio and TV. Overall, Bauer would expand my audience and give my magazine a bigger reputation. So, moving on to target audience. As I said before, because my target audience is indie, which Bauer doesn't have a magazine for, and also Kerrang and Mojo are rock, their audience is similar, and also the majority would be young adults and above, whereas when you look at my magazine, a huge majority of mine is elder teenagers, young adults, and so forth, so my magazine will be bringing a wider variety of people in. Moving on. Similarities between my product and Bauer's. I would say that my product is most similar to Q, mainly because Q's audience involves all age ranges, including mine. Also, Q would include some indie artists as they cover many well-known artists, so they would interview a well-known indie band like Mumford & Sons, for example. Also, Q's simplistic structure is also similar to my magazine. All of this is good because that means I could share some of Q's target audience as well as keeping my own. Moving on to company's reputation. So Bauer, the company's reputation is just incredibly huge. It's been around for 140 years, so it's an undeniably massive institution with a lot of experience. It has major magazines like the three I previously mentioned in Q, Kerrang and Mojo, and it also has a huge audience in music, but also in TV and radio as well, like I previously mentioned, and it covers multiple industries. This is important because if I was to join a distribution company or do business with any company that had a bad reputation, then it would have a costly reputation on my magazine as well, and it would dampen any hopes I had of expanding my magazine. Moving on. Is my product mainstream or niche? So I would say that they are both. It's both, because although you could say it's niche as it only focuses on the indie genre, if it was to be distributed by Bauer, then it would only expand the fan base. Furthermore, indie is already a fast-growing industry as well, not just for music. I have to remember that. It's also in fashion too, so I'd be targeting a growing audience. You could suggest that the price range of $2.99, which is my magazine, is incredibly modest compared to Q, for example, which is $3.99. So yeah, that's mainstream or niche. And lastly, how would my magazine be advertised? So I would advertise this is going to be a long answer. I would advertise my magazine in shops like Urban Outfitters. Also, I would at gigs and festivals, because the majority of my audience would go to these venues and places. Furthermore, I'd advertise it in many fashionable shops like Urban Outfitters, like I just mentioned, because as I said earlier, the indie style was growing in fashion too. So people who like that may also like my music. Additionally, I'd advertise it on the radio for, for instance, Radio 1 plays many indie songs, and also advertise it on TV. So by putting it on music channels where the majority of music lovers go to watch and listen to it, This would also cost less than having it advertised on a more recognised channel like BBC, ITV or Channel 4. And lastly, it would also be smart to advertise on social media, as that's where many teenagers spend a lot of their time now, and it's ever-growing social media. This could also help advertise things like subscriptions, so instead of having to go to shops, they could simply get it posted instead. So that has been question 3. Yeah, laters.